Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D, Better Off Reading Every Day. Today's book is Franklin's Library Book. Franklin can tie his shoes, Franklin can count by twos, and Franklin can borrow library books all by himself. Franklin takes good care of his books he borrows most of the time. One day, Franklin went to the library. He found 3 new books. How to Keep a Super Duper Tidy Bedroom. Franklin shook his head. How to Do Super Duper Homework. Franklin shook his head again. How to Make a Super Duper Kite. I'll take this one, said Franklin. At home, Franklin read his book. He found sticks and string. He found cloth and ribbons. Then he hurried to the hill. On the way, he saw Bear. Bear, called Franklin. He held up his book. Want to make a kite? Sure, said Bear. Franklin and Bear made 2 super duper kites. They ran up and down the hill all afternoon. They flew looped the loops. They made figure 8s. They did takeoffs and landings. They didn't stop until it was time for supper. The next day, Beaver phoned Franklin. I want to borrow the How to Make Super Duper Kites, she said. Have you finished it? Yes, said Franklin. I will return it to the library. Franklin hung up the phone. He went to get his book. Franklin looked everywhere. He looked under his desk. He looked in his toy box. He looked on his shelf. Franklin found his super duper kite, but he did not find How to Make a Super Duper Kite book. Uh-oh, said Franklin. I'm in big trouble. Franklin looked everywhere, all over again. Franklin called his mother. It's story time at the library. I'm not going, said Franklin. But you love story time, said his mother. Not today, said Franklin. But soon Franklin changed his mind. He said, maybe I can go to story time. Franklin put on a big scarf. He put on a floppy hat. He put on some dark sunglasses. Then he went to the library. He sneaked in and sat in the back. When story time was over, Franklin got up to go. Is that you, Franklin? Mrs. Goose asked. No, said Franklin. You sure look like Franklin, said Mrs. Goose. It isn't me, said Franklin. He ran out of the library. Franklin ran around the corner. He saw his friends. Is that you, Franklin? Said Bear. Shh, said Franklin. Why are you dressed like that? Asked Rabbit. I'm hiding from Mrs. Goose, said Franklin. Why? Asked Fox. I lost a library book, said Franklin. Uh-oh, said Bear. You're in big trouble. Franklin ran all the way to the park. He sat down to think. What did I do with How to Make a Super Duper Kite? First, I went to the hill. Then Bear and I made kites. Then Bear and I went home. Then, said Franklin. I know where the book is. Franklin ran all the way to the hill. He stood where he had made his kite. I left How to Make a Super Duper Kite right here. Franklin looked all around. He did not see his book, but he did see bear and beaver and fox and rabbit, and they were all making kites. Franklin was very surprised. "Are those super duper kites?" he asked. "Yes," said Bear. He held up how to make a super duper kite book. "Wow," shouted Franklin. "Where did you find my book?" "I didn't find it," said Bear. "I took it home with me yesterday." "But Bear," cried Franklin, "that's the book I lost." "Oops, oops," said Bear. I guess I'm in big trouble." "Yes, yes," said Franklin. He reached for the book, but now I'm not. The end, boys and girls, of Franklin's library book. Boys and girls, I chose this book in this hat because I'm celebrating something today. My library has reopened. They gave me a call yesterday to let me know that they can do pickups and drop-offs. So I can call them, let them know what I'm looking for, and then they can bring it to the door and I can pick it up. And if I have any library books that are overdue, I can drop them off. But I cannot go inside because that's not happening yet. That's not one of the rules in the phases that we're going through. But I am so excited. Oh, I have missed my library these last 3 months like you would not believe, because all of the books that I have been reading to you are books that I already had, or I borrowed from a friend, or I bought. Yeah, that's how I've been getting my books. So I have missed my library, and I am so glad they're open. So you're going to see a series of books that I'm going to be reading to you that are all books about the library, because I have 10 of them that I'm going to be reading. This is the first of 10. And this one is Franklin's library book. And I chose this hat because Franklin put on a hat when he was trying to disguise himself because he thought he had lost a library book and he didn't want Mrs. Goose to see him when he went to the library for story time. So that's why I chose this hat. Of course, it's not really a disguise because you recognize me. You absolutely recognize Miss Reynolds, right? You see me. You see me under there. You see me. Yep, that's me. And also, I wanted to share with you, this is my guy right here, Leap. Franklin is a turtle and Leap is a frog. I always get them mixed up, but you get the idea. This is Leap. He was always in our life when my daughter was growing up, and he was all about teaching you your letters and your math and everything. And these are all of the VCR tapes that we used to use when my daughter was little to teach her letters. So it was kind of her library before we started going to the library. And I wanted to share Leap with you. This is Leap. And these are all of his. Check it out. That's him. Those are all of his. Cute, right? Yep. And these are all of his right here. Every single thing that you needed to learn when you're learning your letters. And he enunciated the words B, S, K, D. My daughter really learned with him and she absolutely loved him. That was from all of the Leapfrog series. And they still have it out. You can still get a lot of Leapfrog things. You can get them for your iPad and you can get them, you know, just to read. They still have it out there. So go ahead and check that out. If you have a little one, a brother or sister that are learning their words, Leapfrog is definitely the way to go. That's how my daughter learned. But, you know, of course, you don't have a VCR anymore because they no longer make VCRs, but I just wanted to share these with you. Boys and girls, it is Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D, Better Off Reading Every Day, and it has been my pleasure to bring these books to you in the series of books about the library. Because God, did I miss my library. I don't know how I ever survived the library being closed. Wait, I know how I did it. I read to you. I kept it coming with you. That's how I survived being without my library. Thank you, boys and girls, for hanging in there with me. It's been my pleasure. Now, let's go get some library books.